Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Talking Trees. This is a weekly broadcast going out live on Facebook and YouTube in connection with the Trees of Music project. You can check us out at treesofmusic.org, or you can have a look at rainumbrella.org. Trees of Music is a series, or Talking Trees is a series where we're looking at the intersection between music and trees and the forest and reforestation. And I'm very, very excited today. We have Dr. Haroldo Lima and he's speaking to us from the Botanical Gardens of Rio de Janeiro. And this is the guy, the tree that we're planting in the Atlantic forest, which is the tree that's used to make violin bows, is called pernambuco tree, or brilliant. And the Latin name is, I think Dr. Haroldo can help with my pronunciation here, but the Latin name is Paubrasilia echinata. And this is the man who came up with the term Paubrasilia, if I'm not mistaken. So very, very excited to have this world expert on the Atlantic forest and on this particular species of tree. Hello, Haroldo. Very good to meet you. How are you doing?
Hello, Dan. I'm very well. I stay here to talk about the Brazil woods, a special plant from Brazil coast Atlantic forest along the coast.
And so what is so special about the pernambuco tree?
Yeah, it's legumes family it's a very important family to woods, mainly hard and dense and flexible woods are in this family that use to many things. And one plant, one species, it is very special to instruments is Brazil wood, pau Brasil. That's the only wood that people use to violin and another instruments.
Exactly, yeah. It's uniquely suited to fashioning violin bows. I know when the Portuguese arrived, or when the English arrived, they called these species ironwoods because of their strength and how well they could be worked. So, what is it exactly about leguminous species? Maybe you could explain what that means, what legumes mean to the people listening, and why do legumes, these particular species of trees, why are they so hard and so flexible and so resonant?
The legume family, that's the distribution is from the neotropic areas, from Asian to Americas, Africa and Americas, and many species, the high diversity with many plants from the dry regions. And from these regions, usually the wood is very hard. And for this, the family is very special to use of the woods. But this is because the diversity higher, and then you have many species with different woods. And then the wood is a plastic and variable, and just from example, wood for house, home, to the very special wood to constructions, to small pockets and instruments, musical instruments. Some woods is pau Brasil, but we have many other species in legumes that use in instruments like jacarandá, the Brazilian special
Rosewood.
people use in instruments too, but in tables and furniture and other things. Then this family is
Yeah,
very
I know that
special. You-
Marco, who is the bow maker, who is also a nursery manager, who's planting 50,000 or producing 50,000 saplings, he was using reclaimed wood from construction to make, taking it out of old houses, I think from maybe even from railway tracks. Was it used for railway sleepers as well? And making bows out of these because it's extremely endangered. Maybe you can tell us how endangered Paubrasilia is.
yes, it's very, 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 very dangerous. Endangered. Uh, for you know, we have a small history. When arriving in botanical garden, study plants, nobody knows Brazil wood in native areas, in nature population, all in cultivated plantations, in plants from cultivated areas. My botanical generation know, don't know Pau Brasil in the fields. And
In the
then
wild.
uh, and the people think, I think through the official law, Brazil was extinct in the fields. No forests, no fragment forest with population with Brazil. Then this question uh, inside me I involved with this question. Wow, no extinct? Maybe not. We need to look for plants in the fields. Then I start my study in Rio de Janeiro, and I I saw some areas, small areas, with hard in very young plants from Brazil and hard adult individuals. And then I propose a project to start to discover these species in the along the coast, Atlantic coast in Brazil. Then I I prepared it. My plan was look for funding and a partners to this project. And then it's possible a partner uh, uh, just with Royal Botanical Garden de Kew, William Lewis, and then we have a plane to the expedition in 1980, early to make an expedition along the coast, Brazilian coast. And then this was the first study in field to look for Pau Brasil. And I in Rio de Janeiro, we have a small population, 2 or 3 places. And in Espírito Santo, we saw a small population, but different, morphologically different, but only in cultivate area. Only cultivate area. And in many populations in Bahia and northeast of Brazil, Pernambuco. It, in this study, we have most information to start a conservation plan to Brazil woods. The first expedition to uh, clear for us because Pau Brasil is not extinct. Is good news from the fieldworks in 1980.
How many trees do you think there are?
In Rio de Janeiro, small areas just in the north of the state, because the vegetation, the habitat of Paubrasilia is not the Atlantic forest, uh, all Atlantic forest, but just small places, dry climatic place, climatic place.
Hmm.
Então, we discovered this habitat. Then that's more easy. Look for Brazil woods because it's not. Look for place where this paleoclimate fix in this place. Then we start visit this place and look for population, for Brazil populations. And then we
And
start to discover new populations. And it starts propose the conservation reserve for these areas where discover populations, new populations.
I see. And I believe there are different morphotypes. Can you tell me a little bit about the three types of pau Brazil and how they were discovered?
Yes, when it starts the expedition, this research, the people know knew only one type of Paubrasilia. When we returned from the first expedition, uh, we contact, we discovered that we have three types. One with distribution along all the coast, from Rio de Janeiro to Rio Grande do Norte, Pernambuco, is the state in the north of the coast Atlantic. One is from the Espírito Santo and Bahia, from central part of the Atlantic forest, and another with big leaves just in only in Bahia. And this is information change all strategy of the conservation in Brazil, because you think now we need conservation from different morphotypes to preserve the genetic variation in Brazil. Then the the morphotype small leaflets occur along all coasts. Then that's okay. Many populations, no extinct, no pressure on the populations, but the middle leaflets and the large leaflets, we have small populations and are in place with many pressures, anthropogenic pressures,
Mhm.
and the risk is high. And then we our directions, our our
Focus.
our focus was in these two morphotypes to preserve and propose one strategy to the conservation of these morphotypes in Bahia and the Espírito Santo. And now we have some reserves, some place where it's possible study, reproduce, a reintroduction in new areas these morphotypes.
So to be reintroducing these morphotypes into areas where they have
Yeah,
gone extinct. I see. And are they introduced as
exactly, exactly.
are they
My
introduced
sorry.
are they
What?
introduced as small saplings or as larger trees, or how are they reintroduced to the
No,
wild?
just seedlings and small plants that produce in this place, reintroduce in a near in the place around the main population to to produce a diversifications and protect the genome
The
diversification.
genome, yeah.
But this is very
I see.
important because in this time we start planting in commercial areas too. This is very important. The people that work in that plant pau-brasil in Espírito Santo and they produce violin bowls. The people support this first research about the collect seeds, produce seedlings e introduce em plantations area. Então, many areas that today is we have a plantation with 30 years or 35 years, we start to plant in this time, in the 1980.
So you mentioned a lot of pressures on the. Oh, it's starting to rain. You mentioned a lot of pressures on the populations. One of the things that Marco Raposo is doing. Marco Raposo is the nursery manager, who's our partner in Brazil, the rain partner in Brazil, and one of the goals was to produce mother trees, to produce trees from which we can take seed, and especially when trees are cut, and when they're cut in Brazil, in the wild, it's illegal, right? I know that in 2018, over 20,000 illegally and over 20,000 violin bows made from illegally logged wood were seized, right? So there's a massive pressure, and there's a whole lot of people learning violin. If you think about all the children getting violins for Christmas and all of those bows, and that's not going away. You know, we're going to be continuing to play the violin, hopefully, for as long as we have humans on the planet. So, I mean, the law is one thing; it can kind of protect a little bit, but you're absolutely right. The commercial plantations are super important, and this is where Marco comes from. He's a commercial planter who wants to supply the demand for sustainable bows for the bow making industry.
Yes, because the
wanted to do, and I said to him, "That's a great idea."
Yes, a great idea.
I said to him, just 1 second. I said to him, "That's a great idea, but also, can you plant some in the wild?" So he decided, okay, we'll take half of them, and we're going to do commercial plantation, and the other half, the other 25,000, they're going into reforesting springs in the Atlantic forest. Go ahead, Haroldo.
Yes. You need to protect in natural areas, in reserve areas, to protect the diversity of the plant, of the Brazil woods, of the Paubrasilia echinata. But you need the plants cultivated to produce woods to the violin bow. And you need develop technology to plant very well. Like people plant eucalyptus, pinus, you need to plant pau-brasil with special technology to produce woods to produce violin bows. Then, because if you protect the natural areas, it's possible preserve the genetic variability in Brazil woods. Yes, and broke the illegal business
Trade, yeah.
involved. A trace, yes. Then, if you plant in commercial areas, it's possible with these plantations. It's possible reduce the impact of in the natural populations. This is the idea. not only plantation, commercial plantation, but together plantation and protect natural population is very important. And this is the idea, the collaboration with Mar.
Mm-hmm. I think it's important for people to understand that while violin bows are a pressure on this resource, the destruction of the forests goes back a long time, and originally they were used for dye because of this very special red color. In fact, the name of the country of Brazil, as I understand it, is named after this wood, and it's called Brazil wood, because brasa in Portuguese means like burning coals. So it's this very vivid red color.
Yes.
Why Paubrasilia is red?
Red.
What is the function in the wild of the red?
Sorry, repeat, please.
So why is it red? What is the natural function of the red color in the wild? Why is it red?
Usually in plants, the gum and another juice in the one cut the trunk.
Mm-hmm.
This part is secondary product of the
A secondary product, yeah. It's not a non-wood product. You're talking about resin, taking resin and sap out of the tree.
Resin to protect, to insects, for example, and another.
It functions to, yeah.
We have.
So just to help you out here, when you cut the tree, it makes a wound, and the sap it's like blood in a human. It clots and it protects from infection.
Yes. And the Brazil wood, they have a Paubrasilia echinata is maybe one or two species with these red color resins. Just only Paubrasilia echinata and some species in Central America and species in Asia from Caesalpinia group, but Paubrasilia only in Brazil now.
Do you have red?
Sorry.
Do you have a theory about why it is a red color?
No, I don't know. But
No.
the red color, the chemical part is Brasilina. Brasilina is like a main resin. This is a saponina and the composed of the secondary product from Brasilina occur in Caesalpinia and Paubrasilia echinata too.
Mm-hmm. Do you have some examples you can show us in the gardens there?
Yes, example. Here we have some. We have some trees like this. So the trunk, you have some spine. This trunk is like a red, but very sensitive in the color. We have another here, red color.
Yeah, it really is an incredible color, red.
Here's
Temos espinhos.
And
There's a composed leaflet. Then you have some spine here.
some spikes.
Yeah.
That's right. Who planted these trees, Haroldo?
This tree was planted in 1969. Then we have many development different here. That is small, that one bigger. There, all was planted in the same time, but we have different. Huh? But this is a
Different examples. Okay.
show. That's the bigger. This usually the 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 plant in the field is like that, with big trunk, with this characteristic, and not bigger. Okay.
Canopy.
A canopy, like a bigger canopy. That
Mm-hmm.
is usually when we stay in field, look for Paubrasilia, to look for this trunk because in the field usually it's red, like red, more easy to localize the plant.
And how old and how big do these trees get? I believe that one was found quite recently that is older than Brazil.
Yes, usually about 15, 60 years old is the big trees in the plantation. But in the field, the conditions is completely different. Then sometimes I think we have in the understory of the, the, the forest, you have a small plants with like a 20, 15, 20 meters high, usually with 400, 500 years. If it's possible to count the trunk, cut the trunk, and look at the how many years old the plant have. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very interesting because this is the problem to cultivate the plant and the plantation. I don't know if the 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 plants, the wood from this plantation is good because the development is very rapidly and very quick, very fast to 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 produce the good woods. Then you need plants in the situations similar to the fields in the forest.
Yeah, I understand. Which is why agroforestry is such a good system for planting Paubrasilia.
Yeah,
planting
exactly.
it along with different companion species.
Yeah.
So this is one of the things we're doing with our.
You
Go
know
ahead.
how planting. Yes, you know, and the research about the type of the soil, the light, and the conditions in the plantation to produce good wood.
Dr. Haroldo. And I have one question. What do you think that we can do And when I say we, I mean people who love nature, people who love music, people in England, people in Brazil. What do you think we can do to help protect and regenerate Pau Brasil?
I think it is very important the people reduce the consume of the Brazil wood to prepare to construction of the violin boats. This is very important. Né? Reduce the use and the and the and the control the illegal
Trade.
yeah, illegal trade. Okay, it
Mm-hmm.
is very important. And the other thing, it is very important to support the projects to 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 plantations and protect natural populations in Brazil. Protections in these small areas with many pressures and that the people need a plan to control and main the educational project into this. Conservations involve the education, and this is very important. In some projects, the focus is the plantations, protections, and educations. These three parts of the plan in to to produce and to protect and and then produce information to the people because probably if you know you protect then you need
Yeah.
more information about Brazil wood to protect and inform and involve educations in this protection. This is very important. The people uh, 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 the people involved in these questions in Brazil. It's very important to protect Amazon region. Yes, it's very important. But it's very important to protect Atlantic forest too, because we have just only 10% of the original area. Então, we need focus
Mm-hmm.
and very hard work to protect in and know more information about these areas, about this
Absolutely.
remnant forest in Atlantic. Hmm? I show you the red color in Brazil. In Brazil. É isso que eu estava procurando. Look,
Wow.
nice color.
Yeah, it's glowing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Haroldo. Thank you for sharing information. I think you're absolutely right. It's really important that we learn more, and there's no one better to learn about Pau Brasil from than you. So thank you so much for your time and also all your work with this fantastic species. If you want to donate to our project, if you want to get involved and protect this species, go along to rainumbrella.org, look for the Trees of Music project, and you can send some money our way. A little bit of money in the UK or in the US goes a long way in Brazil. For example, we can reforest a spring in the Atlantic forest for around £400 or £500. You know, this is a massive impact in a part of the world, as Dr. Haroldo says. There's very less. We've lost over 90% of it, and a lot of that wood it's been used to a lot of people have in our countries have made quite a lot of money from the destruction of that precious resource. So it's super important. I agree with you totally. This is a time for us to regenerate our planet, regenerate the Atlantic forest. The Atlantic forest provides the water for the Amazon. Without the Atlantic forest, we won't have an Amazon anyway. So go and check it out, treesmusic.org, rainumbrella.org. If you get on the mailing list there, we can tell you about the concerts that we've got planned, the fundraisers. We've got some really interesting stuff coming up. We've got a Nokikoi indigenous song. This is an indigenous tribe from the Amazon region. They've recorded a song from 100 years ago telling the story of a beautiful song. Tells a story about how they were burnt out of their lands in a wave of investment during the rubber boom in Brazil. And this song we are getting recorded with an orchestral backing from a couple of the London orchestras. So get online, join the mailing list, keep up with what we're doing. And next week we have another interview. We're going to be interviewing Marcel, who is a master of maracatu, which is a type of Brazilian music and dance from the northeast of Brazil. And going forward, we're going to be having more interviews every week at this time. So tune in, and we'll see you next time. Thanks again, Dr. Haroldo. It's been a real pleasure and a real honor to meet you.
Thank you too. Thank you for helping us and support our project to protect this very beautiful plant that have one revolution plant, a flag plant that revolution the music and make the world more big and more beautiful with your song. Thank you.
Absolutely that. Thanks very much. And we'll see you again. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.